Coming up to Ridgewood here, Liam, is that right?
That's correct. This is the one and only entrance to Ridgewood Estate, which is over 1,000 houses, 1,000 homes.
Yeah.
It's a quiet time now. It's not.
Okay, now it's 4:30 in the afternoon, so I would expect this to be pretty quiet, really.
And it is. But as you can see, this is a roundabout, and
Okay.
this is always the way. In fact, there's only one car. There's usually two or three. And
We've got a couple of cabs there, and
people pull in. Now that makes it one way there, basically.
Okay.
And this is the only way to get in and out of this estate.
And you're saying there's what, 1,000 houses or 1,000 people?
Over 1,000 homes. Some of
Okay,
those are
so we're
apartments.
looking at what, 3 or 4 people per home. So we're looking at about 4,000 people. On
Definitely,
average,
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say maybe a car every 2 houses, or should we say?
Oh,
a car?
more likely higher than that. Some are apartments, so maybe people haven't got cars. But most, as you can see, if you look around, most of this is standard residential 3-4 bedroom homes, some 2-bedroom, and then blocks of apartments.
Okay, so it's essentially what, a 2-lane road.
It's a 2-lane road. Now, this is a true road all the way
Now,
through.
just looking at the road here, Liam, there does seem to be a lot of what I would call dust on the road
big
here.
time, and this
So
gets
we're
much
looking at, I would suggest, heavier traffic.
Oh, much more so. And this road was dug up, so we can. There are pictures of it where this road was dug up. Now, this is what the road that they want to direct at hundreds of more cars up. Already, the building traffic and so on. Now, these lights here flash at 20 km, which is a bit low. Building traffic just zooms down through here.
Okay.
They'll stay green while I'm going quite slowly.
Sure.
And this is the road right through. And as I say, this is very, very quiet now.
Just let me stop here.
But this is the way. This
Yeah,
screen
so
is-
there's not, for instance, if a ball went out there now, it's a building area.
This is the building site. Now we're moving into this is just 97 houses that are being built. This is moving into the final phase of building, so it looks fine. But when they were doing excavation and so on here, it was constant trucks up and down.
Yes, that's right.
Just the road was filthy. Now we're moving on. But the plan, this is how narrow this road is, right?
Yes, it is.
There are 5 pitches, which you'll see in a minute.
Okay.
And there are 97 houses being built here.
Yeah.
The road to the right is where this builder's car is just coming out now. The road to the right is where they're proposing to build 173 houses, all of which will come in here, plus the 5 pitches, plus the 97 houses, and all come out through the little pinch point.
Okay, now this is quite an open space here, but now we're also seeing that it's a combination of open space and building site, isn't it?
Building site. It's basically in a building site.
Yeah, so if I just have a look over there, we can see well and truly into there. Yes.
And if you see the road, that is what the road is often like.
Yes. So this is just the construction.
That is just that leads right out. Now here is a truck coming, a construction traffic. And if we park here and park briefly here, you'll see him coming up. Now watch right, and he goes up. That's where the children play. Don't forget. Most unusually he's slowing down, but usually these guys just come at full speed, building trucks and so on. And you can see that he's going past where the kids come out, where the greens are. He's slowing down because I'm parked where there wouldn't usually be a car.
Okay, and he's got quite a bit of.
And that's what we see, flying by. Some of them going quite speedy. Now he slows simply because we're here. The council has decided that this area will be cleared with double yellow lines on the other side, so that he can move much faster.
What is the official speed limit on this road?
Well, it's the same as it's just 50 k's. There is no official speed limit, despite those flashing signs. There is no. We have called the guards numerous times.
Have they ever come up?
They have come up, but they've done nothing basically. It's fair to say that because we have tried and we've got nowhere with them basically.
And I'm assuming that they've not put speed bumps in for the simple reason it's a construction phase.
Yes, and the next thing is that the council has allowed that there will be speed bumps. There will be small speed bumps, and they will not slow the construction traffic very much. Because we passed over a speed bump there.
They've just completed 90 odd houses down there, and
they're completing 97,
and they're looking at 150 more.
173 more.
173 more. So we're about a third of the way through. What's the the schedule for those 173?
Well, they have not got planning permission.
Okay.
We're objecting to planning permission unless they provide
an access road.
Access road, and also the school place situation here is already very bad.
Okay.
So now this is the view of the green, and that's the road where construction traffic, plus the hundreds of cars that are going to go in, and it will be hundreds, plus the pitch traffic are all to go down this road, passing that green, and where I'm just pulled back into is houses facing onto that, with children as well.
What's your surname, Christy?
Christy Buckley is my name. I'm a resident of Ridgewood.
Okay. How long have you been living out here, Christy?
Well, in actual fact, you're looking at 14 years.
Okay. And how mature an estate would it have been at that stage? Would there have been
14 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, it was only in its infancy at that stage.
Okay.
So
you would have seen it expanding as it's, as people have moved out here during that wonderful phase.
That's true. Yeah. Well, you could see it starting off from small beginnings, and it's a fairly large estate now. It is.
Well.
It's
quite some time since I've been out in this part of the world. The shopping centre wasn't there then. The pavilion, the estate. It seems to be a significantly sized estate, but if I look at it coming along, it's almost like you've got a rural patch in the sense, and I mean there's fields there, then you turn into the estate, and it's
still got a green
suburban.
belt,
Indeed,
yeah,
yes.
And then you've got the forest road, which is sort of it's tree lined, and it is sort of gives you that country feel,
Yeah. Am I right in thinking that it would be quite a family estate in the sense that most of the houses would have young children, or they would have teenage children, rather than say individual or single people or young couples?
Well, I would say that there's more families with children than the latter, than the single people as such.
It wouldn't be a student area or anything like that.
Not, no.
Yeah. Now, one of the reasons why I was keen to see it, because you can talk about an area, but when you actually come into the estate, you get a much better picture. It's a bottleneck in one sense of the word.
Most definitely.
Yeah, that there is there's one entrance in, and obviously one
entrance out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Does that get jammed up often, or does it?
Well, it does in the mornings. Yeah, when I'd be going to work, that's around the 8 o'clock mark. Say 5 to 8, 10 to 8, around that time. It can get quite log jammed,
Okay. One of the significant issues, if I'm interpreting it correctly, is since we've probably had a shutdown in building over the last, say, 5-7 years, 5 years or so, due to the economy.
The valley period, yeah.
Exactly. It's now picking up again.
That's right.
And clearly that has had an impact on the locals. Can you, in your own words, tell us, Christy, what have you noticed differently in the area since the construction has recommenced?
Well, first of all, primarily, it's at the forefront is the safety of our children, you know what I mean, and grandchildren and so forth.
In what sense? Are we talking traffic?
You're talking about traffic-wise. You're talking about construction traffic, which is, it's quite it's a problem basically, because we get quite a lot of trucks going up and down, and then not only that, you have then the employees then as well that's actually working on the houses. Now, we have got solar signs up in the last month or so, but they seem to be ignored. They're still they're breaking the speed limit basically, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, what I can see, it's guys, they want to get to work, they want to get out again, they don't want to dally around, and what's the speed limit around here? Is it roughly about 30 odd or?
Well, with these signs here now, when you reach 20 kilometres, it says too fast, you know what I mean? But I know that
But that's self-regulatory.
That's very true, but I know that in some of the estates it's 50.
Okay.
But now there has been a case down in Kilkenny, as you probably know, sad to say, where a young child was killed.
Okay.
And I think people that's connected with that, these parents and so forth, and some friends of theirs, they organised a situation where they're after getting 30 mile zone.
Yes, no,
in the residential area.
The reason why I ask that is because I'm doing an interview with a councillor from Dunleary, and they're talking about exactly the same thing.
Right.
They're looking at a 30 speed limit. But something that struck me, even if it was 20 out there, I mean, how the only way you can confirm somebody is breaking the speed limit is to do something like what we're doing here, go out there with a video camera, and even at that, if you got the Gardaí to pay attention, there's no guarantee that A, they would charge, and B, that it would hold up in court. So
I know, that's the problem,
It seems to me that you're behind the 8 ball in that regard, that you're relying on people to behave the right way.
Yeah, you would like people like just have their own volition to like respect the community and slow down, like, you know, without having like to have a confrontation. Because nobody wants a confrontation at the end of the day. You don't want to be making enemies. As I say, like, really it comes back to safety of our children, you know?
We've got two things in that I'm seeing, and I'll be honest, this is the first time I've been to this part. One, you've got trucks that really shouldn't be necessarily they're heavy trucks. They've got they've got building material, they've got construction material on it. And with the best will in the world, even if they go through, there's no guarantee that there wouldn't be an accident.
No, it's no guarantee because
the narrow roads, aren't they?
They don't all slow down, you know. They are narrow roads. I mean, it's a residential road. Like, I mean, we were looking for down where Tesco's is at the entrance into the estate.
Yes.
As you turn right there, just a little bit up the Forest Road, there's a gateway into some fields.
Okay.
And we were asking the council, would it be possible, like, to give us a linear road hugging the estate, which would bring you up to where all the playing pitches are.
So they would come out just around where the playing pitches are, rather than have to go through.
And also the construction traffic would use that as well, you know, which would solve our problem. Solve it, and everybody would be a winner.
Checks and everything is 675 metres.
Yeah.
What you very noticeable. What's that? It's only a piece of papers. Right. So this is the estate here.
Yeah.
Now, this is the side. Now, for look, nobody behind us. It's a very quiet evening. And guess what's on it? For sale.
Okay. So that's what.
So 675 metres.
So that's where they kind of put an access road in there.
Yes.
Okay.
And where you saw the JCBs, that's where it comes up. You can walk across it. I could take you up along it. 2 fields, nothing in it, because that was originally for land. Sorry, there was a guy killed there. There was a guy killed up here, and if anybody gets killed right in front of the estate, the whole estate has to close because there's no. I looked up the traffic regulations, and they will have to close the estate. This is all country land around here.
This looks very rural, Liam. I mean,
it looks very rural.
Yeah,
really
at the same time, you've got big buses here.
You're in the lee of the airport. You see, this is they can't develop any further than noise because the noise zones.
Yeah,
and we're right beyond, just beyond the main.
It is actually very rural out here.
It's very rural. I must say it's lovely. I mean, you know, when you have to drive out the road, you see combine harvesters, you know, tractors, and like they sell the Farmer's Journal in the local shop.
You know?
What's their reason for not doing the obvious?
Well, one of the reasons was that they didn't want to open it up because travellers was a thing to use now. I mean, that's only a red herring in my book, you know. And then I think like basically it's money that is the real problem, you know.
So who would have had? Do we know who would have had to pick up the cost for that? Would it have been the council, or would it have been the developer?
Well, now I would say myself that the way things have been working out here so far, the council has been. I'm not saying now that they're not genuine, saying that they haven't got any money, but they have been putting on the poor mouth all the time. Every time that we've met them. So in one instance, the builder actually came in on the situation as regards the calming measures, the traffic calming measures, you know, and he is putting them in. He's in the process of putting some of them in.
What are they? I'll be honest, I can't see a lot of traffic calming measures around here.
I agree with you there. Well, for the moment we have 2 solar signs, which if you go more than 20 miles an hour, it shows up that you're going too fast. And that's one thing. But,
but that's
obviously,
isn't it?
yeah, well, obviously it's not being heeded, you know. Yeah. And then the other proposal that they're talking about putting in is ramps.
Yeah, but that's presumably after the construction phase is over, is it? Or would it
no, it's supposed to be actually in the near future now, in actual fact. But we have a problem with that.
Okay, well, one could ask if that was the solution, why have they delayed it up to now?
Well, I think myself that the construction traffic obviously would they're probably thinking in terms of like they have a free run at the moment.
Yeah.
But even if they did put in these traffic, these ramps, at the moment they're talking about to be only at the highest point 3 inches.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I would have said they could be dangerous in themselves if you've got construction material that isn't tied down properly.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Very easily
dislodged.
Yeah, dislodged. Exactly. Yeah. It seems, and I'm because when I did an interview with Liam Gorman on the radio, it seemed to me that I couldn't determine how the council had decided to allow construction to go ahead. Not that people were opposing the development, but it was almost like they had ignored the fact that the construction phase would be disruptive. It was like
it was like putting the cart before the horse.
Well, it was almost like it was ignoring the horse in that sense of the word. That that the horse might foul the road or whatever. That maybe you'd ignore that, or it'll be good for the roses or something like that. Yeah. It seems now. I may be misrepresenting both the council and we don't know about the developer, but it seems like they've almost taken a view that, well, this part will be over now, can you just not live with it? But what I'm seeing, although it's not approved, that there are proposals to develop something that's close enough to double the size of this development. If that was to happen, knowing that the traffic would, you'd have to have your construction materials, the roads are not going to be any narrower, would that increase the disruption?
Yes,
in terms of the intensity of it, and B, the length of it? Because,
most definitely, yeah. Because first of all, you have your, as I pointed out earlier on, the construction traffic. But then with the extra houses, now I have to say that we welcome the extra houses, and I will also add that the builders are doing a fairly good job of building so far. So it's basically down to like the problem with the traffic that we're really concerned about. If you get the extra houses, you're going to have extra traffic, obviously, that goes without saying. So you're going to have, like, coming from, say, the back of Ridgewood Avenue, I think there's something like 170 something houses being built there, So that's going to add like more traffic on the road, like, and most houses have around 2 cars,
Indeed. Yeah.
So that's going to, and then when the builder is finished all his building, which could be about maybe 2 years' time or something like that, which we'll have to put up with all that for that period of time. But when that's over, we still have the problem of the playing pitches with the
you still only have one road.
You still only have
you still have the access problem. Yeah. So if we look at it, then I mean, my impression is that the residents aren't concerned per se with having another 200 odd houses there.
No, we don't mind.
But it's
just that there's only the one road.
It is this interim. Well, again, you're going to be left with presumably another 200 or 300 cars using that very narrow area.
That's right. Yeah.
What we've seen over the water charges, Christy, people only paid attention when people started to get noisy. Or people, I mean, I can sense there is a sense of frustration.
Oh, that's
is that turning? Could that turn into anger the way it has turned into with the water charges protests?
Well, I mean, people are only human at the end of the day, and like your children come first. So, like, I mean, if you feel like that you're being thwarted at every move, I mean, people just,
just looking at the geography of it, now I'm not trying to put ideas into people's heads, is that if a lot of trucks went in there, it could be very difficult to get them out again if people decided to, shall we say, to do a water style protest.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, one wouldn't want that, but I mean,
It'd be a last resort.
Yeah, okay. On that basis then, what sort of noises are the council making? Are they hearing what you're saying? Are they even heeding what you're saying?
No, they seem to have their own agenda. Like, I mean, some of the proposals that we put forward, like, they wouldn't go along with them. Like, they wanted to, like, put their own proposals there, like, and...
I always have to be careful here when we talk about councils. Are we talking about the elected officials or about the unelected officials? Because they often have different agendas. What are you mainly dealing with? The shall we say the administration, which would be?
Well, we're talking about the administration, yeah, and of course there would be one or two elected representatives that would have gone against our proposals. You know. Now, I have to say, like, a lot of them did. Actually, it was a 50-50 split, would you believe, at one of the meetings out in Blanchardstown about 3 weeks ago.
So, why would the elected officials? I mean, essentially what you're asking for is, in essence, traffic management and, if you like, a certain level of management during a construction phase. Most people would see that as reasonable. Why, generally, in my experience, councillors are much more likely to be supportive of residents. What's their objection? I'm not talking about, I don't want to talk about individual councillors here, but is there a view that somehow or other that what you're asking for is unattainable, or it's unacceptable, or it's, it's being even NIMBY-ish?
Well, you see, basically, like, we would prefer, like, another access. Yeah. More so than, like, what...
Not just for the construction phase, but for
overall. For overall, like, you know what I mean? Like, the traffic calming measures are only a really substitute for what we really want, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
You know, like, I mean, it doesn't really solve the problem at the end of the day, you know? Because as I was saying earlier on, like, that the ramps they're proposing to put in, like, are not, like, what we would want, you know. We know of other ramps in other areas, and they're actually 5 inches at the highest point. Yeah. And what they're proposing is 3 inches at the highest point. Yeah. You know.
So, going back to my experience was in the IT industry, particularly telecommunications, and what we always discovered is that if you're going to put in another, say, 500 houses that need phones, you probably need another junction box. In other words, as your traffic increases, you have to look at how the flow is. It seems to me that they have they've acknowledged that there's going to be an increased volume of traffic and an increased flow of traffic, but they've ignored it.
Could I just say that you know, that you've just actually reminded me of something there. For every 100 houses, there's supposed to be 2 access roads. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, we're talking like about 1,500 houses here.
Well, it seems that
one access.
You've been given, in a nutshell, you've been given the black and white telly version. In other words, you've been given access based on stats that are 20 years out of date. And that's why, I suppose what I was going to ask you is, have they done any surveys or any studies at all to say there's going to be another X number of 100 cars here? What do you need in terms of even just widening the road or increasing, in terms of access? Is there any studies being done in your knowledge, Christy?
Well, one of the councillors did do some a survey, in actual fact, like on the traffic calming measures, you know, and I mean, I don't think like that it's really up to.
Yeah, well, again, I'm not an expert on traffic in that sense of the word, but it seems that it's like, dare I say it, we go to the Hillsborough. If you've got X number of people or 100 people going through a gate, and then you get 300 people, you either need to widen the gate or need to put in another gate. Otherwise, you're going to end up with some sort of bottleneck. So, in itself, has the council come down much, or have they, by and large, what's the communication been like?
Well, it hasn't been great, really, because we did send an invitation to one of the top guys in the council, and Mr. Reid. I don't know whether I should have mentioned his name or not.
No, please, but yeah, that's okay.
And he is a public representative, like, in that sense, but. he, so far as he ignored our invitation, you know.
Well, we give him
I
an
would have
opportunity.
liked them to come up and have a look around, you know.
Well, we'll
And
certainly
speak to
send
them, so
we'll
forth.
certainly send them a copy of these interviews and see what at least give them the right of reply. We're coming up to winter.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but if we got a lot of if we got bad weather, particularly if we got snow, does the pace grind to at least a serious slowdown?
It would definitely slow things down a lot, like in the sense like that. People will. I would imagine that anybody with a bit of common sense would be a bit more cautious, you know.
Christy, you've painted a shall we say quite a graphic picture. I think.
I hope it doesn't sound too negative
No,
now.
no,
Like,
no,
we would
well,
like to think that there might be some light at the end of the tunnel, you know.
Well, I'd like to think that we'd all be as understanding if I had the same problem, because you know I've seen the same thing in other parts of the world, but in your case it seems to be very clear that you've got a bottleneck. There's going to be, you know, in a nutshell, it's like you're putting a greater volume. But if that was a sink and you filled it up with liquid, you'd need a greater access just to get it through. Otherwise, it's going to overflow.
It's going to clog up or overflow or whatever.
And what I'm having difficulty in grasping is there's clearly an impact on the residents as to why the council is slow to address this issue.
Well, like on the more mundane point, like I mean, even our houses are getting destroyed. I mean, with dust and everything like that. There's no point of even attempting to paint your house because, like I mean, the dust is unbelievable, you know. And then your cars and all. I mean, you go out and your windows are covered in dust. A guy in my job said to me, Where have you been? The Sahara? I said, oh no, that's actually from where I live,
that's
you know.
noticeable. That was one of the things that I said to Liam when we were driving in here. You can see from the dust on the road that there has been heavy traffic going through here. Christy, we'll keep, as I say, we will flag this. I will certainly be bringing it to the attention of Fingal Council. And as I say, I would hope you would keep us up to date because you've got to live here, and clearly the quality of life is being impacted.
Oh, definitely, most definitely, you know.
And not necessarily, and it's a very. It seems that if you take the cost issue out, and I'm not saying it's not significant, it's a very solvable problem. It's a negotiable problem.
I think so. Yeah, you know. I mean, the linear road that I was speaking about there, like would really solve the problem. You know what I mean? Like it's just hugging the estate, as I say. You know. Everybody would be a winner.
I agree, and it's a bit unfortunate that they've used the traveller excuse as well, because I think that's a cop out.
That was poor form, you know.
I think so, and as I say,
especially in this day and age, like you know what I mean.
Yeah, this idea
that
the travellers are
a little more enlightened, you know.
The travellers are opportunistic, just waiting there to pounce like a bunch of vultures. I'm afraid I don't buy that.
No, I don't buy that myself. No.
Christy, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks
as
very
I say,
much,
we
Mick.
would hope that at least by bringing it to people's attention, we get some positive development out of it because.
So hopefully now that will, you know.
Yeah, because the same developer is down where I live. I'm not hearing traffic problems down there, so I wonder if it's related to an area.
I think it could be.
Yeah, now admittedly the size of the development is bigger here, but it shows that they can be obliged to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Christy, as I say,
Thank you.
I mean, essentially the impression I'm getting, and I may be a bit unfair, but it's almost like lie back and think of Ireland.
There's a bit of go away and stop bothering us. I mean, they're so cheeky, you know. The traffic impact assessment produced by the company, you know, and they go, it's robust. In other words, like, we're not even going to. There is an arrogance in the council that we've been shocked and disappointed with. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Just this arrogant feeling of why would you worry about your children and trucks?
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't we? Of course we worry about our children and trucks.